Hey guys, it's MeloNX here with DxSign, and today I'm going to show you how to play Nintendo Switch games on your iOS device. Before we get started, it is important to note that this guide is using DxSign, but you can use any sliding surface you want, although the instructions might be a little different from start to finish. If you have any problems, let us know in the DxSign Discord, although we cannot help you with non-DxSign certificate. For this guide, I recommend you either have an iPhone with an A16 chip or higher, or you have an iPad with an M1 or higher. All right, with that all said, let's get started with the tutorial. First, you're gonna need Feather. If you already have Feather, just skip ahead in the chapters, but Feather is basically what you use to install everything. You can go to your DxSign Manage page, click Download, click Feather, and then it'll just install. You might need to enable developer mode if you haven't already. Then click on Download Certificates and get your development certificate for games. Once you have that, as well as Feather, you can then head to MelonNX's download page, which is just melonNX.org. Just scroll down, click download, and then you'll have the MelonNX IPA. Also, in the link in the description, you can find the STIKJIT GitHub, where you can then go to the releases and download the STIKJIT 1.3.2 IPA. Alright, now that we have MelonNX's and STIKJIT's IPAs, we can go ahead and head to the App Store. In the App Store, you just need to download STOSVPN. STOSVPN allows you to connect to a tunnel that just makes the whole JIT enabling process easy. If you've used emulators on iOS before, you may know that for some of them, it requires you to enable JIT, and that requires this whole process with a PC and all of that. But with STOSVPN and STIKJIT, it's actually really easy, and you can enable JIT from basically anywhere using STOSVPN and STIKJIT, even on cellular data. I'm going to show you really quick how to install STIKJIT and MelonNX using the files you just downloaded. You already know this, just install them and then skip ahead. Simply open Feather, go to Settings, click on Add Certificate, and then using the file you downloaded earlier, which should be in your recent downloaded or wherever you decided to store it. For me, my certificate ended up in my downloads in my iCloud drive. Once you have it there, just simply click on the plus icon in Feather, import your provisioning profile and your certificate file from that file that DxSign gave you, and then open the password.txt file where you'll find your password. This password will either be 1234 or ASDFGHJKL. If your password is not working when you try to import your certificate, then try to use the other password, whether it be 1234 or ASDF, as a common bug is that these passwords will get swapped around when you're downloading it. And I found that just by switching them around and trying one or the other out, eventually it'll work. So now, after you've added your certificate, if you are on iOS 17.4 or above, you're going to need to do these steps. If you are not on iOS 17.4 or above, you can ignore this and just continue with the tutorial. Go ahead and click on Server Options and enable Online Install Method. Feather will restart, and that's about it. That's all you needed to do. Please note that if you're using Online Install Method, you will need to be connected to an internet connection, whether it be Ethernet or Wi-Fi, in order to install apps. Cannot use cellular connections to install apps with Feather. Then, once you've enabled that, just click Import, Import from Files, and import both the STIKJIT and MelonNX's IPAs. Since I've already imported those and signed them, I shouldn't need to do it again. But I will, just to show you guys. You simply just find where it imported it. It should be on the bottom of your library. Tap on it and click Sign. Then, once it completes signing, just tap on it again and click Install. It will then appear on your home screen. After you go through a little bit more, it should say like open in iTunes and then click Install. But after that, you'll have STOSVPN, STIKJIT, and MelonNX. Now, here comes the fun part. Setting everything up. Setting most of this stuff up is really simple. You simply just go in STOSVPN, connect, and then go in STIKJIT. And when you first enter STIKJIT, you will need something called your pairing file. This pairing file is required to use STIKJIT. And to get this pairing file, you will need either a Windows or Mac PC. To show you how to get the pairing file, I'll swap over to it right now. So here we are on the PC now. So in the link in the description, you can open it on your computer. The GitHub page to JITTERBUG. Simply just go to the latest GitHub release and then download it for whatever kind of computer you have, whether it's Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. I'm going to be using Windows. For Linux, the instructions are a little bit different, but you can just look in the instructions in the actual GitHub page. Anyways, going back here, I'm going to download the Windows version of JITTERBUG Pair. Save it. We'll go over here to my files, downloads, and then you can just extract it using the Windows extractor, but I also have WinWar. So here, it will just create a file called JITTERBUG pair, and all you need to do is just right click it and then click run as administrator. If you do not run it as administrator, it will not work. And also you need to have iTunes installed. If you do not have iTunes installed, then it will also just not work. So once you have iTunes installed and you run it as administrator, you should see a new file somewhere in your downloads or wherever you extracted it that says your UUID and .mobile pairing file. So with this file, you can transfer it any way you want, except do not use Gmail or Google Drive to transfer it, as both of those services compress it in a way where STIKJIT can just not use it. It's unusable. A way I'd recommend to transfer is just to use your iCloud drive. All right, that's it for the PC. We can switch back to your device now. Now that we have the pairing file, we're now back. We can go to home, and after you've added the pairing file into STIKJIT and it approves it, you can just click Enable JIT and enable it for MelonNX. Although you don't need to do it now, you will need to do this before you enter a game in MelonNX. It's really simple. Now, this is a really interesting part. Because MelonNX has some minor bugs right now that they're ironing out, I need to show you guys how to manually import your keys and manually add firmware. In the link in the description, I've provided a file called BIS. You need to download this BIS file onto your iOS device. If you do not download this, then you'll need to get it yourself via OreoJinx on a PC, and it's a really convoluted process. So I recommend just downloading mine and using it. Because there's no difference at all. Go ahead, take your Files app. Within your Files app, go ahead and find wherever you unzip that BIS file I was just talking to you about. I also recommend closing MelonNX while you do this. Once you've located the BIS file that you downloaded from the Google Drive in the link in the description, simply just tap on it to unzip it, and then hold down, tap Move, tap MelonNX, tap Move, and then tap Replace. If you do not know where your MelonNX folder is located, it should be either on your On My iPad or On My iPhone folder, depending on if you're on an iPhone or an iPad. Wait a moment for this to transfer, as it takes a small amount of time, though it's pretty quick usually. And then once it has transferred, now you need to transfer your production keys. You can find this pretty easily on the internet, although we are not allowed to show you where to get them. In this case, I already have my production keys right here, so I'll go ahead and select them, tap Move, and then what you're going to do is go to your system folder in MelonNX and move them there. Once you've moved both your keys and your firmware into the MelonNX folder, simply just tap on MelonNX and finish the setup. You have now set up MelonNX. However, I have not shown you how to add games. Of course, just as we had to add the firmware and add the keys to the Files app, we will also have to add games to the Files app. So I'll show you how to do that right now. Simply find wherever you have your ROM. In this case, it's in my iCloud drive in my downloads. Tap Move, go to MelonNX, and then tap ROMs and copy. Then restart MelonNX, and your game should appear just like that. And that's about it really for setting up MelonNX. I recommend going to the settings of MelonNX and maybe turning up some things, turning down some things, whatever works best in order to get you the best gameplay. In my case, I usually turn up my resolution scale to 1.5x because I am on an M4 iPad Pro. However, I do not recommend this for anyone on an A16 chip or an M1, as it might hurt performance dramatically. So now, I'm going to try to play Mario Kart 8. It's going to ask me for JIT, and to enable JIT, I'll just open STIKJIT, click Enable JIT, and go to MelonNX. Once that is done, you just click on Mario Kart 8, wait for it to load. Mario Kart 8! On 1.5 times render resolution, which is 1.5 times the Switch's native resolution, I'm getting about 60 FPS, although with some dips down to 50 or 54, still very satisfactory performance in Mario Kart 8 on my iPad. And that's about all I have to say for MelonNX today. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, leave a like and subscribe to the DxSign YouTube channel. If you have any questions or you had any problems with the install, either join our Discord or leave a comment down below. Either way, we will respond as quick as possible, try to help you out. That is about it, and see you guys in the next tutorial.